On November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas, President Kennedy's life was cut tragically short by an assassin's bullet. This shocking moment in history has echoes in a more recent event, the 2024 assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The parallels are haunting. Two powerful leaders, two shocking attacks, and two waves of conspiracy theories that continue to divide a nation, right on the middle of presidential campaigns. But today's story isn't just about eerie similarities. It's about uncovering the truth behind one of the most infamous moments in American history. Who was the real John F. Kennedy? Why does his untimely demise continue to haunt us? And most crucially, who silenced the most powerful man on earth? It's November 8, 1960. After a fiercely contested battle with Republican candidate Richard Nixon, Democrat John F. Kennedy narrowly becomes the 35th President of the United States, winning by a razor-thin margin in both the popular vote and the Electoral College.
It is the climax of one of the closest, most dramatic elections in American history.
At a mere 43, he shatters records as the youngest elected president in American history.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it.
Whispers of scandal swirl around JFK's victory. His father, Joseph Kennedy, former U.S. ambassador to the U.K. with notorious mafia ties, allegedly pulled string to secure crucial votes for his son. Joseph purportedly enlisted Salvatore Giancana, Chicago's feared mafia kingpin and Al Capone's successor, to sway the election in JFK's favor.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Despite the cloud of controversy, JFK takes office in early 1961. His eyes set on reshaping America's future. Kennedy's bold vision to conquer space, thaw Cold War tensions, and champion equality.
And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space.
Kennedy's modern, progressive outlook electrifies puritanical America. He and Jackie, with their children, project the image of the perfect all-American family. But behind closed doors, a different story unfolds. JFK's numerous affairs, including a scandalous liaison with Hollywood icon Marilyn Monroe, paint a picture of a deeply flawed man.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
Beneath his vibrant public persona, Kennedy's health was a ticking time bomb. Weekly injections, including methamphetamine, kept him functioning. His back, a constant source of agony, defied 4 surgeries. Kennedy's back ailment impacted his life so profoundly that the White House rocking chair, initially a necessity, became an enduring symbol of his presidency. Kennedy inherited a powder keg, a Cold War on the brink of ignition. In this volatile climate, his predecessor, Dwight Eisenhower, had set in motion a covert Cuban operation to topple the Soviet-aligned regime. The CIA, operating in the shadows, trained 1,400 Cuban exiles for a clandestine coup against Fidel Castro. Kennedy, wary of the CIA's cloak-and-dagger tactics, grudgingly greenlit the operation. In April 1961, barely 6 months into Kennedy's tenure, the Bay of Pigs invasion imploded spectacularly. Cuban forces crushed the ill-fated operation within 48 hours. Reeling from this political fiasco, Kennedy swiftly axed several CIA bigwigs, including Director Allen Dulles. The following year, the Cuban Missile Crisis pushed the world to the brink of nuclear annihilation.
General, what about if the Soviet Union, Khrushchev announces tomorrow, which I think he will, that if we attack Cuba, that it's going to be nuclear war? And what's your judgment as to the chances they'll fire these things off if we invade Cuba?
I don't believe it.
You don't think they will? In other words, you would take that risk if the situation seems hard.
As a matter of fact, what can you do? If this thing is such a serious thing here on our flank, that we're going to be uneasy, and we know what things happening now. All right, you've got to use something. Something may make these people shoot them off. I just don't believe this, bro.
Yeah, all right. Well, hang on tight.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, General.
All right.
Kennedy navigated these treacherous waters with a mix of steely resolve and diplomatic finesse, securing the removal of Soviet missiles in exchange for a U.S. pledge not to invade Cuba. In a powerful display of solidarity, Kennedy's June 1963 Berlin visit culminated in his iconic Ich bin ein Berliner speech, reaffirming unwavering U.S. support for West Berlin.
All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, Ich bin ein Berliner.
Despite a rocky start, Kennedy's deft diplomacy averted armed conflict and burnished America's global image. On the home front, Kennedy championed sweeping civil rights reforms, aiming to dismantle the entrenched system of segregation and usher in an era of equality. His domestic agenda gained momentum, transforming him into a beacon of hope and progress. As the 1964 presidential election loomed, Kennedy focused on consolidating his support across the nation, unaware of the tragic fate that awaited him. It's November 22, 1963 in Dallas, Texas. The sun is shining, and the crowd on Elm Street is eagerly waiting. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, 46 years old, is about to pass by. With the presidential elections looming, JFK sets his sights on a second term. But Texas, a conservative stronghold and bastion of segregation, bristles at his progressive agenda. Inflammatory flyers brand him a traitor, and tension crackles in the air. Brushing off security warnings, Kennedy boldly declares to Jackie that, if someone is determined to shoot him, no force on earth can prevent it. At 11:55 a.m., under a dazzling Texas sun, Kennedy emerges in his open-top Lincoln Continental. He is wearing a corset under his suit, prescribed by his doctors to alleviate his back pain. His relaxed smile and confident wave belie the danger lurking in the shadows. It's a gorgeous autumn day. Kennedy even had the roof of his car removed to greet the crowd more freely. As he waves to the adoring crowd, a bullet tears through his back. Astonishingly, his corset keeps him upright, making him a sitting duck. Moments later, a second bullet shatters his skull. The fatal shot. It's 1 p.m. Dallas. America's youngest president lies lifeless. The nation is paralyzed with shock. In the aftermath of Kennedy's assassination, a whirlwind of theories erupts. Lone gunman, mafia hit, government conspiracy. Even today, a staggering 2/3 of Americans believe there was more to the story than meets the eye. Echoing this pattern, the 2024 assassination attempt on Donald Trump ignited a firestorm of conspiracy theories, with many challenging the official narrative despite ongoing investigations.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
If Trump swiftly resumed his campaign after an assassination attempt, Kennedy's last breath marked the beginning of America's most controversial and enduring mystery. Join us in the second and final video about JFK as we unravel the secrets behind Oswald's capture, explore shadowy connections, and question the silence that still surrounds Kennedy's assassination.